Hey, what's happening? Ward Wrestling Live here with another amazing coach in our state down here in Florida. He was one of the girls' coaches at Team Florida, and they did pretty damn good. He's got a club down here called Beebe Train. Family's got clubs up in Illinois, and he's doing a lot, bringing some different mindset down here. Was just on our Team Fargo team as a coach, and he's been on the show. Now it's a record time. I think four or five. He now leads the pack. But
breaking records.
Breaking records even here.
That's right.
Yeah. So what's up, man? How you doing? Last time we were having a beer at St. Pete, and now we're doing this.
Not a lot. I mean, now since last time we talked, I've decided to dive in full time on our wrestling academy. So I left my other company, and now it's 100% wrestling. And it's the first time ever since I was a college coach that I've had the opportunity to, go all in completely in on wrestling. So it's an exciting time for me.
That's awesome. I've seen you around. I've seen you coaching some kids. I've seen you adding some coaches to the program and kind of building little by little. What finally got you back emotionally attached to it like that, to where you can say, okay, you know what? I need this. I need to get back into it full time.
Well, pretty much I'm seeing a lot of these wrestling academies around the country having a ton of success, right? And that's always, when I started Beebe Train, the goal's always been to compete at a national level, right? And the wrestling academies that are seeing this type of success, all their coaches are fully in, and it's their full-time job, right? So in order for me and for Beebe Train to see the goals that we have in mind, I feel like the only way to do that is to, go all in, right? And I've been talking about all in for quite a long time, ever since I started Beebe Train here in Florida. I've been talking or flirting with the idea of going all in, but just never really took that step. And now it's kind of one of where's my passion lie? And it's always been wrestling, right? I've always circled back to wrestling. I know I've talked to you about this before. When I moved to Florida, my goal was to get out of wrestling, and then somehow or another, I circled right back in. So wrestling seems to be able to pull me in continuously. So if that's my passion and that's my love outside of my family, why not go all in, And like I said before, I'm seeing a lot of these other wrestling academies around the country have success in being able to support their families with the sport of wrestling. So it's one of those things where it's why can't I, if I fully invest and make it, make the wrestling academy a full work schedule, why can't we develop our athletes to get to, the point where we're consistently competing at a national level? And I think that Florida's got the athletes. We just got to build the culture a little bit more in my area, which is what we've been, what we started to do. And now that it's my main focus, I feel like we're going to grow that at a rapid pace.
And you've seen a lot of success coming out of your gym. You've had sprinkles of kids that come down and do privates with you. You've had, we just saw one that you do privates with, Win Fargo. And you got to sit back and think, man, if I could go full time and have 20 of those kids, 50 of those kids, 80 of those kids, what could I do, right? Yeah,
and you hit it on the head, right? We've had a lot of individual success, right? We've had, the Mark Anthony's, the Claires, and all these athletes that are super athletes, that it's more those super athletes that we talked earlier off air. It's more of those athletes coming in and me cleaning up, certain things. with those athletes. Those athletes, you know, have been coached by great coaches before they got to me. So those athletes are all, you know, they're still Beebe trained members, and we still love them to death, and they still come in every single time, you know, they're in town, and they're part of the family. But now it's more about having the success as a whole. That's my goal, right? To be able to put teams together where we can go and compete with the best of the best, right? Right now, we can compete with the best of the best, but only with individuals, right? We've got, you know, 4 or 5 individuals that can national tournaments and make noise. But like you said, my goal is to have 20, 30. You know, my goal is
I'd imagine right now you'd want to be taking a team to the Michigan Grappler. You'd be wanting to take a team maybe to Journeyman. You'd be wanting to take a team to preseason nationals, right? And
not only that, right? Not only that, but it's more than just these individual national tournaments. I want to be competing at these team tournaments, right? Where we can put together 2 or 3 dual teams and go out and compete with the best, right? And I want, when it comes to those national tournaments that you're referring to, the Super 32s, the Fargos, the grapplers, all that stuff, I want to be literally that coach that never sits down, right? I want to be that coach. The only time I sit down is when I'm in a corner, you know, coaching. And in order to get to that point, we have to build our young athletes to be competitive at the highest level. So yeah, I mean, my goal is to be running track meets when I'm at those national level tournaments. And right now we're not there. But like I said before, hopefully now that I'm, you know, 100% in, we'll grow this thing at a rapid pace. And I've got great families and great help around me that have been with me since the beginning. So the pillars are there, right? It's just about putting the building blocks together and kind of watching this thing flourish.
oh man, you're in one of the I saw the list of best cities to live in the country. And I think it was St. Pete was like number 28 or 32 or something in the top 50. And that was it's a great place to be. I know I got family
Yeah, it doesn't suck here.
out there, man. And it's crazy because I was just at your hometown, right? When I was taking Daniel up to look at colleges. And we can't wait. That's a pretty cool town too.
Absolutely, it is.
It's like your town with ocean. It's like if you're in that town with the ocean, like you just have
Exactly.
the difference of where you are now is you got the water there.
Yeah.
There's a river up there, but it's not the same as the beach.
No, but it's still beautiful out there, right? That's
Yeah.
where I was raised, and Naperville is still, you know, a home away from home, my original home. But here is now, it doesn't suck to walk outside and have the sun and the beach and have vacation. So I go on vacation every single day, and I'm in vacation when I'm in at work now, where the wrestling room is where I love to live. So
that's awesome. So listen,
pretty dang good.
we just got back from Fargo, a couple weeks ago, and you were part of the coaching staff there. And I know we saw that you guys all jumped into boys' corners, girls' corners. You guys did everything for the whole team, but specifically most of the time, your focus was on our women's team. You come from the state of Illinois, which they tend to be on the stage a lot, male and female wise. They've always had a really good team concept up there, and they always make noise at Fargo. We only had about 30 girls go there. We ended up 5th, which is huge. We had what, 3? Was it 3? 2, 3? We had 3 national champs. We had 1 runner-up.
One runner.
2 national champs, 1 runner-up, which was awesome. First, you know, what was the experience like? What did you think of being part of Team Florida now and going with the girls and seeing some of their success? I know you were once an athlete there. What did it feel like to be on the other side of that?
Well, I've like you said, I was an athlete there back when I was in high school, and I've never actually been there to coach. I've always been there either to be an athlete or to recruit. So it was a little bit different this time, which was exciting. And the fact that I got to coach the girls team, I've never been solely on, you know, a girls trip before. and the dynamic is completely different. The energy is completely different, and it's so much more fun, right? And I was explaining this to some of the other coaches. It's like when we were having our team workouts, the girls at the end of their workout, I've never seen and never will probably see this from, you know, the boy side. At the end of the workout, they're all doing, you know, specific dances, and then other teams are joining in and doing these dances to finish their workout. Like you never see boys team, boys team, coming together like that. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, they got after it. They competed their ass off, and it, you know, even the matches that some of them didn't get what they wanted, it was always there was never a second where they weren't fighting, right? And nothing against the boys side, but there's moments where you see, you know, the boys will give up, or it's almost like they're there just for the Fargo experience, or for the mall that happens after the, you know, the first two rounds where they're trading singlets outside of the Fargo. But when it came to the girls team, like I said before, every single one of those athletes fought every second of every single match. And I've never seen that before. Right. And they expected to win. Right. Even the athletes that were on the team that have been wrestling for, you know, 6 months or a year, they went out expecting to win, or, you know, looking across on the other side, like, hey, listen, you're in for a battle. You might beat me here, but you're in for a freaking war. Right. And it was very inspiring to see. And if Florida wrestling didn't take notice, they should, right? Because we've got the girls that are extremely inspirational and fired up and ready to be great.
Yeah, and there's so much we saw girls there. Like you said, you just watched Gabby's interview, and she even said on there that, you know, Walker would show her the rankings going into it. Walker would show her the articles where nobody picked you. Walker would show her things and say, all right, now we're going to go change all that, right? And she said it angered her, right? She wanted
that competitive edge.
Yeah, it wanted to, and you know, yeah, I agree with you. I was watching. There was one girl that I remember. I remember she crushed somebody, Sofia Delgado. I remember she crushed somebody, and then I looked back at you, and you were like, "Wow, that girl's gonna be good." And
Yeah.
here's a girl that's wrestled like 8 months or something, or a year. She placed at our state tournament. Now she's a jiu-jitsu girl, and she's done amazing things there. But man, talk about that, the future of her, and the way
she AA'd at Fargo, right? She was All-American.
she made it. Yeah, she All-American, but she's not happy about that. Like, remember?
Well, but still, just that to have success after only being in the sport for so long, and having and just that fact that you said that she wasn't happy with it, like that's the competitive drive, right? She wants to be great, right? And it sounds like she's not going to stop until she is. And that's the same with you know, most of those girls that were on the team. They want to be great. They see the opportunities that are presenting themselves in wrestling for them, which again, the opportunities that are coming up now for girls wrestling, there's almost more opportunities for girls wrestling than there is, you know, men's wrestling at the next level. And if you're a parent and you bring your daughter into a room, you need to know that, like, hey, listen, the opportunities are growing fast, right? To be able to compete at the next level and be able to use wrestling to, you know, build the rest of your life and get yourself.
You're hitting this sport at the right time if you're a female, because this sport is going
100%.
And that girl, Sophia, she competed there. She All-American, she got on a plane, flew back to Orlando, then competed at the Orlando Open, which is like the Pan Am's. Orlando, it was like the World Championships for Jiu-Jitsu. And so she went all through that. Then she jumped down, went through that, and then she coached her little sister there.
Yeah, amazing.
Obviously, Claire Bowie and Juliana Diaz, they took it home. Mary Manis, Runner up. I mean, listen, she competed. The girl she lost to is all world, but Mary's gonna be up there with a big stop sign. Sooner than
Absolutely.
later, she's awesome. And there's another girl. She came off the stage and I tried to get a picture of her. And she's like, just leave me alone right now. You just runnered up at Fargo, but she's like, I don't even want to talk about it, right? So that mindset and that want to
How
win.
did it drive?
How do we get, I guess I would say, what would you tell the girls out there about how important it is to show up and compete for Team Florida? Because listen, we see teams like California and Illinois bring 3, 4, 5 dozen girls, right? And they're all good and they're all competing at a high level and they end up on the stages. They end up first and second. California is just unbelievable on the girls' side. There's no reason why a state this big with the girls that we have, why we couldn't get 70, 80 girls, just like we do boys, to Fargo. What do we have to do to be able to get our state to that level?
We have to use our catalysts, right? The girls that AA'd and the girls that went out there and competed, right? They need to be the staple of these young girls that are coming up in the sport. You know, now we have these all-stars that these girls can look up to, right? The wrestling tradition in those other states have been, you know, such a big tradition, right? And they've had those all-stars in the past, but now it's like Florida wrestling and girls wrestling with the athletes. I just got done talking to you about the way that they compete and the way that they actually they really care about having success in the sport and building and the team bonding. If we continue to have these catalysts in our state and these girls that are showing, you know, the younger generation, like, listen, this is not only is this possible, but you can do it, right? We can win national titles here. And Florida wrestling continues to grow with these great coaches that are being, you know, put into place at a lot of these high schools and these wrestling academies. And I know that it's now, if you're not adopting, you know, girls wrestling in your room, you're nuts, because you're not getting with the time. These girls, it's just like I said before, like if you're a father and you have a daughter, you have to be able to look at the landscape of what's happening in girls wrestling, the opportunities that it's creating. And as a coach, you need to be able to relay that message to these, you know, these parents, like, hey, listen, it's different. It's different. The opportunities are abundant for these girls to find a way to use wrestling to further their life after wrestling is done. Right.
I mean, it's a huge funnel, right? Because before wrestling was sanctioned in high school, before girls said, oh, wow, now I have an opportunity to get to college through this sport, their parents, for defensive purposes, were putting these young ladies into jujitsu, into judo, into karate, into taekwondo, into MMA, whatever. And obviously there's no college scholarships in any of that, right? There's no college opportunities in any of that. So we're seeing these girls, a lot of them aren't transitioning to our sport with nothing. They're not green. They've been on these mats. They've been rolled. When I talked to Sophia Delgado again, she said walking into Fargo was nothing for me because I've competed on the largest stages of jiu-jitsu in the world as a kid, right? So I've seen crowds before, right? And it made her able to walk in there and be confident about that. You know, we should be using that funnel, right? Shouldn't we be reaching out to some of these jiu-jitsu places and some of these gyms, and as coaches going out there offering a place for them to transition to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the opportunity's there, like I said before, and it's only going to grow, right? You're going to see a lot of these Division I coaches following the Iowa lead in developing a female program, a girls program at their schools. So the opportunity is just going to keep growing, and the way you get noticed is the same way you get noticed as a male wrestler is going out there and wrestling at the competition where the college coaches are going to be in the stands, right? Or walking around the tournaments. So going to the Fargos, going to the Super 32s, going to all these tournaments in the off season. I'm a big believer that the off season is more important as far as competition and getting better is concerned than the actual season, right? Not a lot of people and outside of those schools that are traveling to the big events nationally, the Ironmans and stuff like that. Not a lot of high schools and kids are getting recruited from their actual season, right? You don't see too many Division I coaches in the stands at local high school tournaments. They're in the stands. If you want to get noticed, they're in the stands at the Fargos. They're at the stands in these off-season events where it's their off-season is recruiting season, right? So if their off-season is recruiting season, you need to be active during their recruiting season, right? Not only active, but being able to show up and show out when you have, every single coach in the stands. And if you're not doing that and you expect to get looks, it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy wrestler, right? It doesn't matter. You're not going to get the looks unless you're competing at these tournaments. It's as simple as that. And so now you're seeing our female athletes and our girl athletes having, the success. Now you're starting to see these college coaches wheels turn like, hey, maybe we should pay attention more to this state over here that's, turning out all Americans and had 30 compete and placed in the top 6 at the Fargo national tournament.
I mean, I was looking around and you would see Chung from Iowa, right? Coach Chung.
Mm-hmm.
And you would see the North Central coach. And those are, Iowa's not competing yet, but they're obviously going to be competitive. And you would see them next to the stages, next to the mats all the time. And, one of them just came in 3rd in women's, right? With North Central.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chung is obviously doing okay with the recruits she's getting in Iowa. And
yeah, absolutely.
And they're sitting there looking for that. And if you're not there, they don't see you.
Exactly. I mean, that's the best way to get noticed. Wrestle in the off season. That should be your season. If you're looking to wrestle at the next level, your season is the off season. Pretty much.
I keep saying this a lot on these shows, but Val Solario in the corners working tape with these girls, talking to them about their next match. Even Bowie was telling me, man, the way she broke down tape with me and telling me about these girls was enormous for her, right? Like a girl that was coming to win it was told she can't wrestle, which I think was a good decision because you don't want to see her hurt that hand anymore, right? Just got the cast taken
Yep.
off. For her not to out and scream and turn around and say, okay, I'm here. Let's get this done with the girls. Man, how awesome is that to see that camaraderie and see her kind of step up and do that?
It's the support, right? It's the support that those girls in the bond that those girls develop. I saw it firsthand, right? They want to be there for each other and they want to see each other have success. And they also realize that the more success that their teammates have, the faster the sport's going to grow in our state, right? So the support that they're showing, you saw it with a lot of the athletes that got knocked out of the tournament too, right? That wasn't the end of their wrestling that weekend. If a girl needed a partner to warm up, they were there, right? They were there mat side for just about every single one of those matches, right? It's the support, and it's the support that we need, right? We can't do it solely as just coaches, right? It's got to be a community, and it's got to come from everybody. That's how you build this thing, and that's how you're going to eventually catch these teams like Illinois and California and all those teams that we into to beat.
Yeah. So I've been seeing you post a bunch of stuff, some events coming up. You've opened up some things over at the gym. What are some things that are happening down there at Beebe Train? I keep sharing what you post, but sometimes I don't have time to read it. You tag me, so I share and I move on. But tell us, it looks like you got a lot happening down there.
Yeah, we're like I said before, I recently just decided to go full time into this. So my focus is all on BB trained, and obviously my wedding coming up too needs to be a focus as well. um,
Just tell
but
Danielle, yeah, no, no, Danielle, that's second behind the gym. That would be.
yeah, I think you should edit that part out.
Yeah,
um,
next time I come for
but
a beer, so kick my butt.
we so there's talks about expanding what we're doing to another part of the state. Right now that's just talks, so I'm not gonna divulge any details, but kind of my goal is to franchise what we're doing out. We're building an app for athletes that it's pretty much going to be all their wrestling and all their training and everything that they do in our room is going to be on this app. So it's going to be an all-encompassing training facility where they can literally get on their phone and check to see exactly what our practice plans are and what we did the day before. We have
Kind of like those kind of like the CrossFit apps where you go on and
yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll have technique videos and things like that, and athletes to go and refer to the technique. Let's say they can't make it to a practice because they're a little strung out from high school practice or whatever. They can get on the app and see exactly what we did and kind of the technique that we did that day. So I mean, huge things happening. We have our preseason camp / rumble coming up September 17th and 18th. We're doing that. So we're going to have 2 sessions that Saturday of wrestling, and then Sunday we'll have 1 session, and then the last session will be a rumble style, hour and a half to 2 hours, or however. I mean, when I do my camps, at the end of the camp, if someone's still wrestling, I'm still in the room. So however long it takes for them to get the wrestling out of their system and get ready to go home. So that's coming up September 17th and 18th. And so, yeah, I mean, big things are coming. There's a few things that are in the works that I can't really talk about because it's not set in stone just yet, but there'll be news coming out. So like I said, this is now my full-time thing. It's family and wrestling is a part of my family. So
that's going to be awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, always coming on here with me and hanging out and BSing about wrestling. It's always good. I'm glad to see that you're kind of transitioning and doing your thing down there. And I think it's good for our state. I had a guy from your alma mater, Dresden, on the other day, and he said, one thing that he noticed about Florida is you're seeing a lot of wrestling minds from elsewhere coming in here and starting to put their 2 cents and train and build clubs and coach high schools, and that's only going to help us grow. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a rapid growth. And it's not it's not only just what we're doing, it's what the state's doing as a whole. There's a bunch of great coaches that are putting in countless hours into this sport and into these athletes to try to make them better people and better athletes, and so that they can use wrestling to further their lives and not let wrestling use them.
Yeah, and Florida's not a bad place to live if kids from out of there want to come here and wrestle, right?
Yeah, like I said, life isn't terrible out here where I'm on vacation. When I'm at home outside or in the wrestling room, it's always I live a vacation now, so it's beautiful.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna hope to get down there one time, or hopefully I'm putting a list of tournaments together of kind of where I'd like to go. And now I've got to see where Daniel and Zachary's high school season falls in there. So I can figure it out. My goal is to try to get around the state and do some stuff and see everybody, see the different classes, and of course get down there and have a beer at St. Pete Brewing with you.
Absolutely.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
For sure.